Hello students, let me start with a simple observation. Have you ever seen a giant banyan tree and wondered, how does it keep standing tall for centuries without moving an inch? Or how does a tiny seed manage to grow into a big plant, stretching towards the sunlight? The answer lies in the secret workers inside plants, called plant tissues. Plant tissues are groups of cells that look alike and perform specific functions together. Some help the plant grow, some transport food and water, and others give strength and protection. Broadly, plant tissues are of two main types: meristematic tissues, which are the growing ones, and permanent tissues, which are specialized for particular roles. Unlike animals, plants never really stop growing because these tissues are always at work. Isn't that fascinating? Now, let's focus on the real growth champions, meristematic tissues. Have you noticed how roots keep growing longer every day, or how new leaves sprout at the tips of shoots? That's because growth in plants occurs only in certain regions where cells keep dividing actively. There are three main types. Apical meristem is found at the tips of roots and shoots. It makes plants grow taller or deeper into the soil. Lateral meristem, also called cambium, is found on the sides and increases the thickness or girth of stems and roots. Intercalary meristem is found near nodes, like in grasses, and helps regrow parts quickly after being cut. In fact, there's a classic school experiment with onion bulbs. When you cut off the root tips, the growth almost stops because that's where the meristematic cells are. Structurally, meristematic cells are very active. They have dense cytoplasm, thin walls, big nuclei, and no vacuoles. Why no vacuoles? Because their only job is to divide and grow, not to store. Plants literally owe their never-ending growth to these little dividing machines. Now here comes an interesting question. What happens to the new cells formed by meristems? Do they keep dividing forever? The answer is no. At some stage, these cells differentiate. That means they take on a permanent shape, size, and role. Once specialized, they lose the ability to divide and become part of permanent tissue. Permanent tissues can be of two types: simple permanent tissues made of just one type of cell, like Parenchyma or Sclerenchyma. Complex permanent tissues made of more than one type of cell working together, like Xylem and Phloem. For example, the hard husk of a coconut is made of dead Sclerenchyma tissue, while the soft green tissue of a leaf is mainly Parenchyma. See how specialization helps plants divide work efficiently, just like humans have teachers, doctors, and engineers for different tasks. Let's meet the three main simple permanent tissues. First, Parenchyma. These are the all-rounder, living cells. They are thin-walled, loosely packed, and usually store food. Sometimes they contain chlorophyll, and then we call them Collenchyma. They carry out photosynthesis. In aquatic plants, they even form Parenchyma with big air spaces that help plants float. So yes, thanks to Parenchyma, lotus leaves can float so gracefully. Next, Collenchyma. Think of these as the flexible support cells. They are elongated with unevenly thickened corners. These tissues let stems and tendrils bend without breaking. Ever played with a climber plant stem and noticed how it twists but doesn't snap? That's Collenchyma at work. Finally, Sclerenchyma, the tough guys. These are dead, lignified cells with very thick walls, giving plants hardness and stiffness. The husk of a coconut or the hard shell of seeds. Pure Sclerenchyma. Together, these tissues act like a team. One stores, one bends, one strengthens. Isn't nature clever in design?
Of course, plants also need protection, just like we have skin. That's where protective tissues come in. The outermost covering of the plant body is the epidermis. It's usually a single layer of cells. often coated with a waxy, water-resistant layer called cutin, which prevents excess water loss. Within the epidermis, we find small pores called stomata. Each pore is guarded by 2 kidney-shaped guard cells. These tiny openings are lifesavers. They allow exchange of gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen, and also release water vapor in a process called transpiration. As plants age, another protective layer forms, the cork or bark. These cells are dead, compact, and filled with a substance called suberin, which makes them waterproof and resistant to infection. That's why tree trunks can survive harsh weather for years. So, the epidermis and cork act as the shields of the plant kingdom. Now, let's turn to the lifelines of plants. Xylem and Phloem, the complex permanent tissues. Xylem is responsible for transporting water and minerals from the roots all the way to the leaves. Its structure is like a set of tiny pipes made of tracheids and vessels, which are dead, tubular cells with thick walls. Along with xylem, parenchyma, and fibers, this tissue ensures water supply. Phloem, on the other hand, transports food, mainly sugar from photosynthesis, from the leaves to every part of the plant. It has sieve tubes with perforated ends, supported by companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and fibers. Unlike xylem, most phloem cells are alive. Together, xylem and phloem form vascular bundles. These bundles are like highways of life inside plants, making it possible for a tall tree to transport water from its roots to leaves several meters above the ground. Imagine water molecules traveling up a giant redwood tree, hundreds of feet tall. That's the power of vascular tissues. So, let's quickly connect everything we learned today. Plant tissues are of 2 types, meristematic, which keep dividing and help plants grow, and permanent, which are specialized to perform specific roles. Simple permanent tissues include Parenchyma, Collenchyma, and Sclerenchyma, while complex permanent tissues include xylem and phloem. Protective tissues like the epidermis, stomata, and cork defend the plant from water loss and injury. Each tissue plays its role: growth, support, transport, storage, or protection, making plants self-sufficient and resilient. Isn't it amazing how, without moving from their spot, plants manage to grow, stay upright, and even transport food and water efficiently? That's the beauty of plant tissues. I hope you now appreciate how perfectly coordinated plant life is, from the tiniest parenchyma cell to the tallest tree's vascular bundle. Biology truly reveals life's silent but powerful designs. Until our next session, keep looking at the plants around you. They're silently teaching us the wonders of survival.